I had no idea this show came out till I got a. I don't know if I considered it a major spoiler or not, but I'm obviously gonna talk about spoilers for my review, so warning. But I had no idea this show came out till I got a spoiler that Rodney was a scroll. That is how I found out this show existed. I guess they didn't promote it that well because, like, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, WandaVision, all that stuff I watched later, but I knew they were out when they came out. Loki, all that stuff. Even What If was all promoted pretty decently. But this one just kind of fell under the radar. Um, it's not as good as Falcon and the Winter Soldier with a lot of its messages. It's kind of rushed. The final fight is fucking lame, which Captain Marvel's final fight wasn't very good either, so I guess they wanted to follow that since they reference Captain Marvel a lot. I also don't understand why they keep referencing, like, smaller characters that they haven't really done anything with. Like Abomination. He started getting referenced, then he started getting used. He was in Shang-Chi, She-Hulk, and now he's referenced in this show again. Like, what's the obsession with Abomination? Is he gonna become some big major villain in the next phase or something? And Cole from Infinity War is mentioned a lot in this. Um, Maria Hill, unfortunately, I really liked her in the first Avengers movie. I don't remember her doing much after that. But then again, I've never been the biggest fan of Marvel movies. I just kind of one and done them. They're not bad, they're just not my thing. Avengers 1 was my thing, though. It was really good. I will always stand by that. Avengers 1 and the first two Guardians movies I loved. I'm not as big of a fan as the Guardians movies now, but I have not changed my opinion on Avengers 1. Anyways, um, they try to deal with racism just like Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but I don't think they do as well. Sometimes it feels kind of just thrown in there, other times they do a really good message. Um, Other times it's clearly just put in there for a funny joke, like when Nick Fury tries to relate to Rodney and calls him brother and stuff, and then talks about how, they're both black people in power, so they need to stick together, and then it ends with Nick Fury being, oh, not Nick Fury, Rodney, going, "You earned all this smoke, brother," you know, mocking him. Sometimes it was clearly, their race was clearly just used for a throwaway joke. Other times it was clearly just used for, like, no reason. You also kill off two characters in, like, the same episode. Obviously, one of them is revealed seconds later to not be that character. But they kill off Ross, who I honestly didn't know his name in all of his appearances in the Black Panther movies. I just knew him as the white guy that was in Black Panther. Um, he gets killed in the beginning of the first episode. And then you find out he's a Skrull, like, right after, obviously. But it's still a pretty big shock to kill a reoccurring character that fast, even if it did turn out to be a Skrull. And then, of course, the episode ends with them killing off fucking Maria Hill. And she is not a Skrull. It's supposed to be a major death. They talk about it somewhat throughout the show, but it's kind of just overshadowed. You think a major character like that would have got more attention. They made a big fucking deal out of Coulson's death in Avengers 1, and then I'm pretty sure he didn't even actually die because of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show. I think he faked his death, but that was a big plot point in Avengers 1. Yet Maria Hill is just kind of like, oh yeah, she died. But whatever. Like, she was a fucking badass, and she was, like, Nick Fury's basically right-hand man. They also have Ghostface in here, which I did not expect. The newest Ghostface. So, spoilers for Scream, obviously, so skip probably like 20 seconds ahead if you don't want to hear it, but one of the Ghostface from Scream 6 plays the president in this show, which I did not expect him to be in this show, but it was cool. But that's really about it for the Scream thing. The villain was really good. I did really like the villain. It was basically the typical cliche, you didn't keep your word, so I'm evil now plot point. Because there's a lot of stupid reoccurring plot points for villains. It's either they're, evil but not too evil, evil but misguided like Thanos, where he wanted to snap and repopulate the world, or like, I don't know, his plan's so convoluted and stupid. So many people have talked about all the flaws. Or, the villain, like, lost his mom, or his wife died or something, and that's why he's a villain. Or just the hero broke their word. And that's what this show is about. It does work. It makes you feel bad for the Skrulls. But at the same time, it's kind of confusing because there's a throwaway line in the show that Talos says where he's not even middle age and he's hundreds of years old. So why did they get so impatient with Fury? Why did they not believe that he was going to help them? If they really are, super old, but it doesn't feel like it and it doesn't age as fast, like how Talos is hundreds of years old in Skrull stuff, but he's not even middle age in human years, then I don't understand why they got so impatient. Maybe I'm misinterpreting that. I also thought it was kind of stupid near the very last episode where they basically just kind of poke fun at the audience, if that's what you call it. But there were a lot of rumors that some of the characters were going to be Skrulls that I saw online that I looked up after the show. Like, what if Ross is a Skrull? What if Rodney's a Skrull? And blah, 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 blah. So they do have that in the very last episode where Ross is like, how long have you been here, Rodney? Which I don't get how that line works. Does that mean that Ross was there before Rodney? Because they were sit right by each other. They didn't, happen to find each other after they got saved by the Shield and all the people or whatever. Whoever ended up saving them, I don't really remember. But they all get saved from the Skrulls and taken out. But they're sat right by each other. So if Ross doesn't know how long Rodney's been there and didn't even know Rodney was there, then Ross had to have been there first. But why would he be asking that? It's just such a stupid line that doesn't make sense if you think about it. And I'm really mad they killed Maria Hill. I really liked her. Should have been a Skrull. I also thought it was stupid how they kind of tried to trick the audience when they did kill her, though. Like, Nick Fury's like, Maria, come here, and then he shoots her. Like, this show's about shape-shifting aliens. I already know that's a Skrull. Didn't even shock me. It did shock me that she actually died. I thought maybe she would have lasted a few episodes or been saved. Something, but Maria doesn't get a very cool death. She just has a Skrull pretend to be Fury, tell her to come here, and then just kills her. And then she thinks Fury killed her for some reason, even though she knows about the Skrulls. She dies, and I'm pretty sure her last words was, "It was you." I don't know. I just really wasn't a fan of her death. I wasn't the biggest fan of this show. It really had its moments before you find out Rodney's a Skrull, even though I already did know. Because unfortunately, I did get that part spoiled. Luckily, it was the only part I got spoiled. Rodney has that really good line where he roasts Nick Fury. And I actually have like an edit of that on TikTok saved to my favorites. I did like Rodney's portrayal in this show. But then, later, obviously, for most of the show, it's just a Skrull pretending to be Rodney, so you can really tell it's a Skrull. I always thought that Rodney was very underused. He had his moments like in Iron Man 2. And then he gets hurt in Civil War. But he never really did much. He could have been a really fun character, and now he's been around since 2010. 13 years in the MCU, and he hasn't done anything. But hey, as long as he's getting paid, right? Speaking of paid, the strike shit is happening. I don't know what I want to do about that. Some people have stopped watching movies until writers get paid, or stop paying for their streaming and shit. I support the strike, but I don't think I want to stop making content I enjoy. That's really my opinion on it. I think if you don't support the strike and you disagree with it, you just don't understand it, like, at all. Like, you're either rich or fucking stupid. There's no in between. And yeah, that's it. I won't be making too much content. I'll try and slow down. I'll still finish Wizards of Waverly Place. I already watched Barbie, which I'm about to review that after I end this. I just watched that in theaters yesterday. But I'll probably slow down on the content. Maybe I'll just review movies that have been sitting in my box that I haven't watched in years, and try not to watch stuff on streaming services as much. But I really enjoy making movie reviews and TV reviews, so I don't think I'm gonna stop, but I'll slow it down.